the simple interpretation of faith. Anyone who becomes a murtad, who committed ridda, becomes a murtad, then it is legitimate to kill that person. Hukuman mati. But Bashar Assad is not a murtad, he is a fasik, so don't kill him. So that's the logic they go by. Do not underestimate this raw interpretation of Quran and Hadith. It's a misinterpretation actually. There are subscribers among the youth in this country, right? Have you ever visited Facebook pages of supporters of ISIS in Malaysia?
Yes.
Look at the kind of language that they use. They are not even speaking of Malay. I joined the press conference and also discussion chaired by Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah. It was an effort and initiative that was started by GMMF, Global Moderate Movement. The chairperson was Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah and Abim, the person was Brother Julfitri Johar, the next president of Abim. So we were invited to discuss on various issues regarding ISIS, and then there was a press conference. You can refer to yesterday's paper and also today's paper, that we have rejected ISIS as not representing Islam, and the declaration of the Caliphate is batil, is spoiled, batil. Is not acceptable, because nobody can say, I represent the Ummah and we declare Caliphate, everybody must give bay'ah to this. This is not in accordance to Islam. A Caliphate has to be announced and through a process of consultation with the Ummah. Not any one person can declare a state of Caliphate. Okay, next. So what happened? In order, next. So this is the flag, the what do you call the flag, the colors that we carry. So because the regime in Iraq could not face the Sunni uprising, so they used ISIS to settle their scores. So this is what happening. This is what happening. And just a week ago, or 2 weeks before, what happened? You see America launch an airstrike, melaksanakan serangan udara, launch an airstrike on so-called ISIS strongholds, menyerang kedudukan ISIS. They should have done that in Syria long time ago. They want to cover up. They are the ones who actually created or give birth to ISIS, just like they have been financing Al-Qaeda in the 80s during the Afghan war. They are doing it the same. It's the same mechanism in order to save Israel, because Syria now is under threat of regime change. If there is a regime change, pre-Syrian army take over, it will spell the death knell of Israel. So the situation has to be saved, it has to be salvaged. How? By creating another entity, just like what they have done way back in the 80s. Okay, that much I can tell. Do not be deceived. If any one of you, or anyone here, or any one of you who knows anyone out there who support ISIS, please talk some sense to them. ISIS is a spoiler. It is actually being used and exploited. Sebab itu, that's why when we look at Arkanul Bai'ah, Usul Ishrin, You know what I'm talking about, I suppose. So the first rukun, what is the first rukun? Arkanul Bay'ah. Al-Fahmu. And then comes Ikhlas. So there is a problem when you do not have the correct understanding, but you do have the sincerity. That's why Umar al-Khattab said, I fear among the Muslims who destroy Islam while not understanding it. They are sincere. That's why these people, the youth especially, were being exploited. The sincerity has been exploited. Plus, they harbor vengeful. They harbor dendam. What is revenge? They harbor hatred, vengeance. They harbor vengeance towards the Jihad who killed their family members. They saw it with their own eyes, and driven by this vengeance, plus their raw understanding of Islam, and that's how you had these brutal killings, the slaughtering, raw slaughtering. The Japanese are not that brutal. They behead people using their sword, but now it is gone from their heart. We must not endorse. Kita tak boleh bersetuju. Examples in history. I want to just share one incident, or maybe two, if the chairman allows. In 1970, in 1950, Britain was losing the war, the First World War. They lost in Gallipoli. They did not manage to capture Sinai. They lost 1 million soldiers in France in the Battle of Somme, the trench warfare. They did not make progress for months on end. So Britain was on the verge of losing the war, and the greatest loser would be the Zionists, because the Zionists were using the First World War as to further their agenda, to bring about the collapse of the Ottoman Empire and also to create the Jewish state in Palestine. So what happened? The British need to be saved. The agenda need to be salvaged. And the only power that can salvage the situation, that can save the agenda, is the United States of America. The United States of America at that time is not involved at all. It's not a party to the war. It is entirely a European affair. America was an emerging economic power. They were tired of wars. The country was ravished. 600,000 people died during the American Civil War at the end of the 19th century. And then they fought the war with the Spanish, which led to the loss of the whole Spanish territory, Cuba, Bermuda, even the Philippines. The Spanish were forced to sell their territories to America. So they have enough of wars. They were tired. But the only superpower that can salvage the situation and save Britain and the Zionist agenda was America. But how to lure America into the First World War? How? So there was an incident. There was a liner, kapal, a passenger liner, Lusitania, that sailed from New York to London, carrying American passengers. There was a SOP during the war. Any ship that sail the Atlantic Ocean must sail in a zigzag pattern. Why? To avoid attack by submarine. In those days, submarine used torpedoes. So after watching at the periscope, and there was a crosshair. So once the surface ship appear at the crosshair, they will fire the torpedo. 1, 2, 3. It has to be properly calculated because the ship is moving. So if they fire the torpedo too late, the ship has passed and the torpedo will miss the ship. It's not like today. You just press the button and you will hit the target. No mistake. But in those days you have to be skilled in order to down a ship. Okay, so what happened on that day? Lusitania sailed straight, not in a zigzag pattern, and it also failed to comply to another SOP, that is to sail full steam ahead. Maknanya dengan kelajuan paling tinggi. Because if you sail at full steam, full speed, that the probability, the chance of missing a torpedo is greater. They shoot the torpedo in front of the ship, but when the ship passes, the torpedo missed the ship. So that was the SOP. On that day, on that tragic day, not only the ship failed to sail in a zigzag pattern, it also sailed slowly. And then it came into the view of a German submarine. And they fired 3 torpedoes. All 3 of them hit the ship. And the last one, the 3rd torpedo, resulted in so massive an explosion that it made everybody shocked. How come? There was such a big explosion. Many years after that. Many years. With the advent of technology, they can dive deep to the ocean floor. So they inspect the Lusitania, the downed Lusitania, the sunken Lusitania. What happened? They saw thousands of ammunition. Remember, passenger ship transporting ammunition, peluru. And that apparently caused the massive explosion. And because of that, Lusitania was torpedoed by a German submarine, and American public fell victim. The American people asked the government, because they were so angry, out of anger, they put pressure on the government to declare war on Germany. And that's how the United States entered the war and saved British from defeat. And in the end, the Zionist agenda was also salvaged. Now what happened? Who actually planned to put the ammunition on a passenger liner? Who? We never know. But obviously, someone wants to create an incident that will lure America into the war in order to save the situation. Now remember MH370? What was the cargo manifest? Mangosteen, 4 tons of mangosteen. And mangosteen was still not in season yet. Who do they want to fool? We will never know the answer, perhaps. Now, who shot down MH17? Just remember this. MH17 departed from Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam. And Amsterdam was one of the major European airports that is controlled by the Mossad. You know Mossad? Special branch of Israel. This is fact. And who shot down? Who brought down MH17? Now there is a dispute. Was it shot down by a missile from ground to air, or was it shot down by fighters? We probably do not know the answer. Even if the investigation goes on, they will try everything to hide the real or the true story. Just remember, on the day MH17 was shot down, it was the day Israel started the land invasion of Gaza. Try to piece things together. The same thing happened in Pearl Harbor, 7th December 1941. They saw the Japanese submarine entering the harbor, but it was not reported. Why? Because President Franklin Roosevelt back then wants Japan to attack Pearl Harbor. It doesn't matter, 2,000 people was killed on that fateful morning of 7 December, just hours after the Japanese landed in Kota Baru. Just remember, Kota Baru was the first bullet was shot in Kota Baru, not in Pearl Harbor. 6 hours before the first bomb was dropped in Pearl Harbor, the Japanese soldiers landed at Kota Baru. Don't tell me that they do not know that an armada is approaching Pearl Harbor. They want the attack to take place so that America can declare war on Japan and will be supported by the American public. Why? Because 2,000 people died in that morning. 50 years later, it was found out that actually the American Navy spotted 4 Japanese submarines. But it was not reported. Why? The president kept it as a secret. They know the aircraft carriers are approaching. 360 Japanese fighters are on the way to bomb Pearl Harbor. They want Japan to attack so that America can declare war on Japan and join in the fray. Second World War started in 1939. America entered the war 7th December 1941. So that by entering the war, they can wrest all Japanese interests in the Pacific Ocean. Central Pacific, the Marianas, the Gilberts, Southern Pacific, all those were under the Japanese control right from the First World War. Now it became the American Trust territory until this day. So history has to be revisited and reassessed. So again, what is happening today is not apparently what we see. You have to look what is behind the scene. And you must remember that this is an agenda that was actually created by those who have a vested interest. And certainly America has a lot of interest in what is happening in Iraq, what is happening in Syria. And mind you, sometimes whatever the CIA is doing, even the president is not aware. The most powerful game changer, strategist, is not the president, but the agents, FBI, CIA, Mossad, and whatever. So hopefully the session tonight, I have managed to shed some light on what is happening in Iraq. So just remember, you have to understand ISIS from the angle or from a larger perspective. The Shiites, the militia Shia that has been financed by Iran, is certainly the background to what is happening today. And it is being supported by America. It's being supported by America, so that no single entity in the Middle East is strong enough to put up a challenge to the sustainability and longevity of Israel. Wallahu a'lam bishawab. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.